Hello and welcome to 50's Thoughts. My name, of course, is 5150 Nighthawk02, and today we will be talking about the Battlefront beta. The beta that had 9 million players on it for an only 5-day beta. Now that is pretty good. So, let's jump into game modes right away since we got a lot to talk about. They had 3 game modes for offer. 3. Survival, Drop Zone, and Walker Assault. So, let's start with Survival. And Survival is definitely the least replayable one in the beta. Like, you only get 6 levels and 1 difficulty to play it on. So, that's like okay, I guess. But then you have 4 out of the 6 waves being infantry waves. And then there are several different kinds of ground troops, like jump troopers, machine gun troopers, and snipers, and things like that. But those rounds are actually pretty easy. You know, there's not much that kind of goes into those rounds. It's just once you have the right gun, you know where they're going to spawn on the map, you just take them out pretty easily. The harder part is the ATSTs. You get 2 rounds of those, and they are definitely the most difficult part of it. To go up against those waves, you have 2 loadouts and then 4 guns to choose from. Which are the same 4 guns from the multiplayer, but the 2 kind of classes you can go with are one with a jetpack and a javelin missile, and then that one also includes a personal shield, while the other one has a 3-round grenade launcher, a damage increase, and then the jump pack as well. So all of them have the jump pack pretty much. And when it comes to which one I prefer when it comes to those 2 classes, I prefer the ion torpedo or the javelin missile, whichever one you want to call it. It pretty much works like a javelin missile. You just lock onto it, wait for it to give you the signal, and then you fire it, and then we'll send the missile right after it. Because when I was playing with that, it's like a 2 to 3 hit kill, I've noticed, for those ATSTs. So, like the grenade launcher and the damage increase, otherwise known as the ion blasts, I found those to be least effective, right? Those were kind of the weaker options compared to this ion torpedo. So once you went with the ion torpedo, it was pretty easy from then on. The grenade launcher has kind of class has more kind of like use. So I want to say it's kind of more, you know, has more variety to it, because you can use the grenade launcher and the ion blast on the soldiers, but they're really made to take out the ATST, where the ion torpedo you have to use it in order to take out the ATSTs, and then the personal shield. I didn't find myself using that too much. But I bet it will come in handy in the later rounds, or when you're trying to I don't know if you can revive someone. I don't think you can. I think you just kind of die. But if you do get the chance, then the personal shield would be good. Or when you're going after, on the map they have these drop pods, which will give you certain power-ups from the multiplayer and stuff like that. So it'll give you those power-ups. I don't think playing as a hero is a power-up, but that would be cool. So you get those power-ups through there, and maybe when you're trying to grab a power-up, that personal shield will be pretty helpful. But besides that, I didn't really see a use for that. But yeah, like, don't get me wrong, Survival kind of has 2 playthroughs. 4 if you kind of want to play it this way. Because you have the 2 classes, and then you can play it either single player or co-op. So you can play it either one of those 2 ways. And then if you really want to, then you can play with the 4 guns with each kind of version. So I guess there's 16 playthroughs that you could go through with the beta. But I really didn't feel like that was that, like, there wasn't really a reason to, because it's on 1 map, it is 1 difficulty. You can't really change it up at all during your takes. It's just kind of, it kind of gets repetitive and boring after a while. And don't get me wrong, any of these game modes could, but I feel like with this game mode, it happens a lot quicker. Like, you play, I think it's like 1 or 2 rounds of survival, like actual games, not I don't know why I said rounds there, but 1 or 2 games of survival, and you're like, yeah, I'm done. So that was kind of my feel about survival. I don't know what you guys thought. So let me know it down in the comments below. But Drop Zone is kind of like the King of the Hill game mode. So survival, that's not part of multiplayer. So you have 2 multiplayer game modes and then 1 kind of mission game mode. But the 2 multiplayer game modes are Drop Zone and Walker Assault. Drop Zone is the more Call of Duty-esque one, I gotta say. Because here's the thing, right? With the Walker, or Drop Zone, sorry. Drop Zone is very arcade-ish. It reminds me a lot of Call of Duty or games similar to that because of just how it kind of plays out. When you play it, you kind of see that it is pretty much King of the Hill, except for the fact that it doesn't take points or go any faster if you have more people around the pod that drops. Pretty much the thing from the pod that drops is, it's whoever claims it and defends it the longest. So pretty similar to King of the Hill, but it turns kind of more into King of the Hill when you have like 4 guys on the pod, and then someone just kind of tries to run in, and then you're all just cleaning the floor, or maybe the guy gets lucky and he sweeps the floor with you. I gotta say, it's a lot of fun. Sure, it feels arcade-ish. Sure, it's King of the Hill. It's what we've seen before. But they make it so well, and they make it fit the Star Wars universe so well. And that's what I love about it. It's just, it works so well. And here, you get all the different weapons, all the different power-ups. You can create your own kind of set list and things like that for your class. And I really liked Drop Zone and Walker Assault. I think Survival was my least favorite, but Drop Zone and Walker Assault were really good. Drop Zone, I think it's 5 pods to win if it's like a shutout game, but if like time is of the essence kind of thing, I think it's 4. Not really sure on that. You got to play it on Solace or Solence or whatever it is. I always forget the name of it. And it's a cool planet. I should mention that. It is a really cool planet. There's a lot of craters and stuff that you can fall into, and they kind of damage you because it's like a tar pit type thing, which that I didn't really care for. But besides that, I thought it was a lot of fun. I really liked it. I thought it was very easy to kind of pick up, and figure out the kind of twists and the turns of the map, because like I think it's in the center of the map you have the Imperial dropship, and then it kind of goes into 3 paths, kind of like normal multiplayer shooters. There's the 3 paths. There's the left path, there's the right path, and then there's straight down the middle. And it makes it so easy to kind of get around the map. And of course, there's like these little pathways, besides those 3 main routes that you can go down and kind of explore and things like that. But I just loved kind of the look of the map. I loved the way the map played. There's good amounts of cover, there's good amounts of just everything on the map, and I really, really enjoyed playing on it. The Drop Zone mode itself is a lot of fun. It's really cool, like once you get a power-up and you can use it, because when you claim the pod, if you wait a little bit, it will give you power-ups that you can use. Again, I don't think you get hero mode in that either, but you get a lot of these different like turrets for like anti-vehicle, anti-infantry. The vehicle one is kind of useless. I don't think they gave you that one. You can get like one of those mounted turrets and put those down for your teammates or for yourself. I had a lot of fun using that mounted turret, just kind of defending an objective with it once I picked it up. And I don't know if I'll show clips during this, but I have a clip from a live stream that I did where I just went ham with that thing, and I really enjoyed it. I feel like a lot of the different stuff with Drop Zone is great, and it's a nice refresher to kind of like the large-scale battle of Walker Assault, which I'll get into next. It's a really nice kind of game mode, and it's kind of a really casual game mode too, where you can just jump in there if you don't want to deal with vehicles or anything. It's just kind of like a team deathmatch or domination, but it's more King of the Hill, kind of Call of Duty King of the Hill, Kill the Hill, yeah. So it's kind of like Call of Duty King of the Hill. So it's not exactly the same thing. You know, it's just that kind of arcade-y feel to it. Where Walker Assault, I think I put it well when I said Rebel Death Simulator 2015/2016. Because, I'm sorry, let me get this out of the way, that shit is unbalanced. Like, that is really unbalanced. Because the Empire will always win. There's some occasions where the Rebels have won, and I've been in a couple of those lobbies where the Rebels did win. But it's like, you never get like a shutout right at the beginning where it's like, oh, they get through the first phase and both walkers are down. You never get that. I barely see it even at the second kind of wave. It's always that last wave, and it's always one of those pure luck things because it is so unbalanced, but it is so fun. I gotta say that. It is so fun even though it is so unbalanced for Rebels and Empire. Because here's the thing with the Rebels. You have to go after these uplink stations in order to call in your Y-Wings. The Y-Wings would bring down the shields to the AT-ATs once you have enough of them, and then you and your team go ham on the AT-ATs and do minimum damage, pretty much. And while the other team kind of comes, figures out where you are, and starts shooting you. Yeah, that you can see where the balance is in this, can't you? Yeah, it's just, even as the Rebels, right, with the different ships that you can fly around in, you know, you don't really have a vehicle of yourself, which is kind of saddening since it's like they get the AT-ATs and the AT-STs and you don't really have anything to kind of get you across the map. You're just kind of vulnerable there, except for maybe some turrets, which the Empire can use against you. So, yeah, it's a lot of fun, don't get me wrong, but it's just really unbalanced. I think Walker Assault is one of those game modes where it's one of those kind of like, alright, you gotta be a little bit competitive, but when you're the Rebels, you're just like, I don't care. I'll be competitive next round type things. Because it is so unbalanced. But with the Empire, all you have to do is kill shit, and that's great. I really like how you just get to kill everything. And, you know, you get to pick up the pickups around the maps for the heroes, you know, the AT-ATs, the AT-STs, you know, the TIE Fighters, the X-Wings, the A-Wings, and, you know, the Snow Speeders, and you get to pick all those up, and it really feels like you're in the Battle of Hoth. And I really like that about it, because, like, it really takes, like, my Battlefront 2 memories to the extreme. Because in Battlefront 2, I played Hoth a lot more than I did on Battlefront 1. So when I played it on Battlefront 2, you know, I played it a lot, had a lot of fun with it, you know, and it was kind of a similar thing where the Rebels always kind of lost on Hoth. And I was hoping that would be different this time around, but it's not. So that's kind of the sad thing, is just, it's not going to be balanced. And I wish it was a little bit more balanced. And here's how I would balance it out. Instead of having it so the Y-Wings drop the shields to the damn thing, let's have it so there's no shields at all. You can shoot it just like in Battlefront 2. You can just shoot it, and it will do minimum damage. The Y-Wings, however, is where you get the massive damage points. So let's say that maybe, since there's 3 waves, maybe it does, I want to say 1/5 of the damage? Let's go with that, 1/5, and then you have to take down the rest of the health. Right? So each time that the Y-Wings come in, that's 1/5, so you would be down to 3, you know, it would be down to 3/5, and then you have to take the rest of it out along the way. No shields, so you can just, whenever you see it, fire upon it. I feel like that would work well, and I feel like that would give the Empire more of a purpose to kind of stop the, you know, the uplinks and things like that, because right now, Empire's only job is to kill things. That's it. They do not need to care about it whatsoever because it's so unbalanced. So if we gave them an incentive saying, hey, your walkers are going to be taken down over here by the bombers, you know, and it's going to take down a lot of its health each time it comes through, then I think you'll be given more incentive to kill them. Plus, if they keep doing damage to them over time, I feel like that would give them more incentive to shoot the ones that are actually shooting at the walkers instead of just going for the big groups and wiping them all out. I feel like that would be the best way to balance it out. And like, here's the thing too. I don't think heroes could actually do, or at least Luke Skywalker could actually do damage to it. And I really would like to see the heroes do damage to it. Because like, I think there's that one, like, I don't know, like if you tried to play as Luke Skywalker and, you know, sliced up the legs or whatever, I don't know if it did anything, but I feel like that would have been a great addition to like kind of have it so, oh, when a hero goes at it, it's not as strong as like a Y bomber, or a Y wing, but it's stronger than your normal bullets, right? You know, it's like slicing it up, you know, cutting things straight through. I feel like that would be a pretty good use of the hero mechanic and trying to make it so the hero goes after that instead of trying to take off the guys that are, you know, trying to take off the guys and things like that. Yeah, this game mode needs so much more balance. I think if we got rid of the shields altogether and made it so the Y-Wings did damage, I think that would be our best bet. Besides that, it's kind of out of whack when it comes to balance. Is it still fun? Yes! It is still a lot of fun, but it's just, it needs balance. Drop Zone actually feels balanced. There are matches I've gone into where it's been a shutout game, 0-5. And then I've had those games where it's like 4-4 and we're battling for that last pod. Walker Assault, not so much. With Walker Assault, it's just, we're not gonna win. We're not gonna win. Oh, he roped the last one at the last minute. Guess we won. You know, that's your whole feeling going into Walker Assault, is like, you wish for the best, but you just know you're gonna get slaughtered and there's nothing that you can do about it. So, yeah, Walker Assault just needs a little bit of balance. But next, I kind of want to talk about the guns now that I spent 20 minutes on the game modes. Alright, so let's start with the E11 blaster. That's the one that is the iconic Stormtrooper blaster. And I love the way this gun looks. I really do love the way the gun looks. But it seems like every other gun is going to outshoot you. I feel like you have to get behind the enemy in order to use it. And it really isn't my style of stealth gameplay. I cannot do kind of the stealth thing. It has like this really low rate of fire, and it seems like every time you zoom in, you're less accurate. So I don't know if that's just the game trying to capture the feel of a stormtrooper, but I don't know. It's just really weird. So I didn't use it that much. As soon as I unlocked other guns, I'm like, I'm using this gun because that's a lot better than this. Like I mentioned, you know, kind of before, it's one of the weaker guns, and like, here's the thing too, right? There's 5 levels in the beta, right? I think I forgot to mention that. There's 5 levels in the beta, and you unlock this one at level 3. So I wonder if they're gonna keep that, or if it's gonna be later down the line. And if that's the case, then I don't think that should happen, right? If the level cap is, say, 50, right? I feel like this shouldn't be, you know, the level 50, you know, gun, you know, where it's like, oh, you can unlock this now for both sides type thing, along with the Rebel Blaster. I feel like this should be around, like, maybe level 10-ish, if we're going to go with that dual unlock thing like they kind of did in the beta. Like I said, I don't know. I really hope that it doesn't get raised too much when it comes to the final game, but I get the feeling that it's going to be. I don't hate the gun. I gotta say that. I don't hate the gun, but I thought it was the weakest out of all of them. It's just, anytime that I used that gun, it just did not work in my hands. I know of people that, were able to use it and used it well, but it's just, I am not one of those people. So let's move on to the Rebel rifle first and get the rifles out of the way. And then we can move on to the blaster pistol and then the machine gun. So the A28OC is the Rebel rifle, and when it comes to the rifles in this game out of the two rifles, it's gotta be my favorite. Because, it has a little higher up rate of fire, and it has more accuracy when you're aiming down sights. It seems less accurate when you're firing from the hip, but that's how a gun should be. E11 blaster. And I love the look of it, right? It's like an MP44 or like an AK-47 kind of combined, and I love the look of it. I love the scope on it. It looks so much like the Rebel blaster from, well, not so much, but it's very similar to the Rebel blaster that they had in Star Wars Battlefront 2, and that was like the main class I played whenever I was Rebels, was that class. And I really love that class, and I love that rifle just because of the look of it, and I love the look of this rifle. I like how this rifle plays. It works beautifully. And like, here's the thing too that I didn't mention. All guns, have unlimited range. It's just there's a laser drop for some reason. So this one's actually really good at just kind of like, because, it has that aim down sights capability, unlike the E11. It's just really nice to like, tap fire and then just like pick off, some guys at a distance with it, because it works so well. And I love that because of it, because it is this more accurate rifle. It does have a higher rate of fire and things like that. I think it's really great. I think that this is probably the second best gun in the game, or at least in the beta, and I wonder what other guns they'll have, to kind of fight with this one. I think that there's going to be guns better than the A28OC, but I feel like this is probably my second favorite rifle of the game, or favorite rifle, but second favorite gun in the game. I wonder what other rifles they're going to have, and stuff like that to kind of push, this one out of the way. So yeah, it's just an amazing gun. It works both on Walker Assault and on Drop Zone. It's a fun gun because it's so accurate. And the E11, like, I've played it a lot on Drop Zone, but I never really played it enough on Walker Assault to know if it's good on Walker Assault too. So I would assume that it's not that great because of how big Hoth is. So aiming down sights with that thing's gotta be a pain. But once you get into like those tight corridors, like the E11 seems like it's close range. This is and the A28OC is definitely a longer range gun. So yeah, favorite rifle, A28OC. The blaster pistol, I gotta say, is my second least favorite because that thing has so much recoil and so much rate of fire. High rate of fire. It's like the exact opposite of the A28OC. It's like the A28OC if it was made for close quarters and if it had really high recoil. I mean, like, the thing with the E11 is its recoil isn't that high because of its slow rate of fire, but this thing, it's just like, pfft, and it's like, oh, okay. It's really not my favorite. It does the job well, right? It is a blaster pistol and it does that well. But I don't like it as a primary gun. And maybe that's just because, I'm so used to, oh, you don't have a pistol as a primary gun, type thing. But I feel like this could have been a starter weapon, right? This could have been, something that, like one of the two, like, here's the thing, you had to unlock all, eventually you had to unlock all of them using coins and stuff. But this one I felt like should have been the free gun. Like, oh, you don't like switching between the two guns? Well, here, have this free pistol, this kind of switch between, because, like, it feels like it should have been that. It should have been kind of a free pistol that you got, the kind of thing, because it doesn't feel that significant to some of the other blasters on this field. It doesn't have the range compared to the other blasters. It has that super high rate of fire. It has that recoil. It's killer in, like, Drop Zone, right? Try to use that thing on Hoth, you're gonna get killed. Again, second least favorite gun in this beta. But my favorite gun in this beta is the DLT-19, which is the machine gun, and oh my god, that thing may be a little overpowered. Because, okay, you don't have, like, the scope to aim down sights with. So, like, you have that hip aiming reticle, and then when you aim it, it goes kind of like from maybe that to, like, you know, or that to that. So it just like decreases the size of it a little bit. And that thing has such a high rate of fire, you have to burst it in order to hit people at range. And it's not really good at range, but it does work at range, unlike the blaster pistol for me. It doesn't work at range. It's like the nice medium between the A28OC and the E11. It's that nice kind of balance of, it works great at the hip, it works great down sights, it has a nice rate of fire, and it has a nice damage, and it works beautifully. I found that once I went to this gun, I could never go back to any of the others because it was so good. You know, you can just like clear hallways with that thing because it's so good. Maybe it's not as overpowered as I'm making it sound, because it is pretty balanced. You know, you can be outshot and things like that, but once you get the drop on people, because it has that high kind of clip compared to the other ones. I think the blaster pistol has the smaller clip too, but with the DLT machine gun, it's just like you have so much ammo. So when you like get the drop on people, just aim for the head, and if they're like all kind of around the same area, you could probably get like 2 or 3 of them out of like maybe say 4 or 5 guys that are in the hallway, because I think it's like 20v20 or something like that. But like if you just get a nice group of people lined up and you just shoot them all down, it's so much fun, and it's so good on all the different game modes too. Like survival, it's good because, you know, that will get you through the waves quicker. On drop zone, it's good because it helps you clear the objectives faster. And then on Hoth, or Walker Assault on Hoth, it helps so much just to get through, you know, like the trenches. It's good at, you know, picking guys off at range. Sure, you gotta take a lot of shots, or maybe you want to use the carbine rifle and then, or the cycler rifle, sorry. Use the cycle rifle and then just kind of clean them up with the machine gun. I mean, it just works beautifully, and I love that gun. It's just, man, that's the gun to watch out for. I don't think there's going to be a stronger gun than that. I'd be surprised if there is. You know, maybe there would be like a DMR type gun where it's like, you know, single fire, you know, kind of like the sniper from Battlefront 2, but maybe with a higher rate of fire. I feel like if that was a gun in the game, maybe that would be a little bit stronger than this. But from beta, like the beta, this is the big gun that, like, I saw a lot of people using it, and I saw a lot of people doing well with it. You can do well with the other guns, but I see a lot more people doing well with the machine gun, and I saw myself doing a lot better with the machine gun than I was the A28OC. So, next, I feel like we should talk about the, I think they call them star cards. So, let's jump into that next. So, I didn't use a lot of these, but I do have kind of, you know, suggestions and stuff from it. And I've talked to people that used it, and I've seen kind of videos on it. So, I think that I can give kind of a fair opinion, even though I haven't really used some of them myself. But the cycler rifle is kind of the bolt action sniper of the game. And the way that the star cards work is like you get one use and then it recharges for a bit and then you get to use it again. So with the cycler rifle, you aim, you shoot one bullet off, and then you have to wait for it to kind of recharge. But I think it does like 95 damage or something like that. If it's just like a body shot. If it's a headshot, dead. All right? Body shot, you know, maybe they took some damage already, they're dead. And I love it so much because it works so well. It's so reliable, and it's so easy to use. You know, it's okay. If you hit, it's practically a free kill. Some people hate it because of that. I think it's pretty good. You know, it's just kind of like the sniper of the game for now. Again, I don't know if we'll have like a DMR sniper. I don't know if we'll have an actual laser sniper rifle in the final version of the game. But if that's not the case, then the cycler rifle is a great addition. I love it so much. The look of it could be a little different. I wish that it did have like a scope, and it kind of looked more, because it looks more realistic. I gotta say that it looks more like kind of a sniper, you know, from like Call of Duty or Battlefield. But I wish that it had more of a Star Wars feel. So I wish it looked more like the Battlefront 2 one. I know I'm mentioning Battlefront 2 a lot, but hey, that was a great game. So comparing it to that and seeing how well it holds up is actually a good idea. I wish it looked more like that sniper rifle. I understand why they didn't though, in case if that was a sniper rifle in the game later on and stuff like that. But it's gotta be one of my favorites. So yeah, it's just so good. I think I used it like every single time on my classes. I never really got rid of it. The ion grenade I didn't really use, but from what I saw and what I've heard from people is it's like a grenade with more damage but a longer timer. So like I've heard that it's good against the AT-ATs or the AT-STs and stuff like that because it kind of does more damage. But like if you're just like nading objectives, I don't know. Yeah, I feel like they'd probably have a chance to get away by the time that it gets there. But if you're going for like long shots constantly, maybe then the ion grenade is for you because of that extra timer. Personally, I prefer the thermal detonator over it, just because of how short the timer is and things like that. Well, it's not like how short it actually is. It's like the normal length of a normal grenade in any first-person shooter. But the thermal grenade, just segueing into that, I really liked it. And that was another one that I used a lot, was the thermal detonator, because it's so good in objective-based game modes. I think it may be a little bit better than the ion detonator in like Drop Zone or something because of kind of that, like I said, it has that longer fuse time. But with the thermal detonator, it's a little bit shorter. I think the blast radius, is pretty good. And like sometimes I was just like launching them across the map and stuff, and I was getting like kills where it's like, oh, that's cool, stuff like that. So yeah, the thermal detonator is really good. It's just like your normal grenade, so it's really helpful in like Drop Zone to use that. That way you can just get people off the pod and then get your guys in there really quickly. Walker Assault, I didn't find myself using that too much. I used more of the cycler rifle on that one. I used the cycler rifle on Drop Zone as well, since there are some nice vantage points, but I didn't find myself using it too much in Walker Assault. The jump pack, however, may be more useful on Walker Assault. Every time that I've had the jump pack, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna use it, and I never use it. It's just, that's kind of the sad thing with it, is it's so cool and it's great for traveling, but I never ever use it. And I don't know if that's just a me thing. I don't know if it's just, kind of, I don't really notice it, or I don't really need it. It's just, it never really gets used. I think I've only used it twice, or in multiplayer when I had it. So it would be really useful for getting around Hoth and things like that if I remembered to use it. Or like like Solace, I don't think you'll need it for, because it really is kind of a close quarters map. So jumping around with the jetpack may be not helpful on that map. But with kind of Hoth, it feels like there's a lot of ways that you can kind of use that to kind of just propel yourself forward and get faster into the battle, especially if you're one of the snow troopers on Hoth. Just use that jetpack to just kind of push yourself more towards the rebels and stuff like that. Because yeah, the rebels do a lot of retreating. They may need the jump pack for retreating, but the Empire needs it to kind of push forward. The ion shot, again, one that I didn't really use too much. it just does extra damage. Again, that would help with vehicles, kind of like it does in the survival. I didn't find it that useful compared to everything else that we had, though, to kind of take it down. Personal shield, I didn't use at all, but I've heard that that would be good to kind of like get a... I feel like that's like a nice escape route, right? You have maybe 5 health left, or maybe you're getting towards really low health. You just throw up the shield and then kind of run to cover. I feel like that would be great for that. I feel like it's really good for arming objectives, like drop zone or like walker assault, when you're either activating the uplink or activating the pod. I feel like it would be really great there. And then, you know, I believe you can't shoot out of it. I think you can't shoot out of it, just kind of like the power-up shield. You can't shoot out of that. So, yeah, that may be kind of one of those oh well type things, but at least it's good for like arming objectives and things like that. And maybe it would be good for like, let's say, you know, I think it would be kind of like the Battle of what is it, Thermopylae? The one from 300, right, where they have all the shields and it's like that tight corridor, and they're just kind of, you know, using kind of the shields as like a turtle formation. I always forget which one that's called. I feel like that would be actually a good use of these shields. Of course, you can't like tilt them upwards. It's just a little bubble around you. But if you like had a team, I guess, you know, like a Skype team, because you can only have you and your partner instead of like a squad like in Battlefield. I feel like it would be funny if you had like 2 guys with the bubble shield standing right next to each other, kind of pushing forward, and then you had guys behind them like launching nades or something over them. I feel like that would be a good use for them. I don't know how well that would work out, but I feel like that would be kind of cool to kind of see that happen. And then the one that I know nothing about, and I never unlocked it, is Sharpshooter. Apparently that's like a damage boost, and maybe it's like a critical hit boost or something. I don't know. I've never used it. But that was overpriced, whatever it is. Because that was like 5,000 credits. And like each round you get like credits based on your score, just like cut off the last number. Maybe they'll round it up if it's above 5, I don't know. Or lower it down if it's like towards 0. Excuse me. But like the thing is with it is like, I've never gotten it. I know of people who have gotten it and they're like, it's okay. But it's like, you spend 5,000 coins on that and you feel like that should have been like something else. You know, like the gem pack was 2,000, and that one I can kind of see why. You know, the normal grenades and the cycler rifle were about, I want to say maybe 1,000, maybe a little less. Like definitely the thermal detonator was less. That was like after you leveled up, you know, 1 level, you could buy it just with the credits that you had. But I have no idea what Sharpshooter is. I don't know if it's any good. Let me know down in the comments of what I missed out on. That way, when the actual game comes out in about a month, I would know to kind of pick that up. Because, like I said, I have no idea if it was any use. If it was useful, period. So let me know on that. And next, we will move into the power-ups. So, power-ups. First is the blaster cannon, which is the thing I was mentioning before in like survival and in drop zone. I've picked this thing up so many times and I had so much fun with it. It is probably one of my favorite power-ups because I feel like it's the most useful power-up. Because you could go to, say, let's say you're playing drop zone, right? And you place it down right in front of an objective. They don't think to look down that corridor that you're at, but you can see them kind of running towards it and trying to arm it and things like that. And you're just mowing them down, and it's like, yes! You know, yeah. Like the times that I've used it, I've gotten like 4 or 5 kills with it before someone realized, oh, there's someone on a turret there, we probably should get them off, and then I get killed within like 2 more kills. It's just, I found that blaster cannon power up to be so useful. It's like the E-webs on Hoth, but it has a slower rate of fire, so the E-webs on Hoth are kind of like those machine guns that are already on the map, and they have a super high rate of fire. It's almost the exact same thing, but it's it's like half the speed. I love it. It's like I said, I think it's one of my favorite power-ups because it's just so useful. You can use it on Hoth, you know, grab the thing, place it down, and then kind of, especially like in that third wave, like I've used it a couple times in that third wave where it's like, okay, I placed it down, and now I'm just like picking off either rebels, you know, that are coming towards the hill, you know, to get to their uplink stations, or using it as the rebels and getting the snow troopers that come off the hill from the last objective. And it's so beautiful how well it works. It's like a more accurate DLT. At least that's what I kind of think, and maybe it has you know, a little bit more damage than that, but it's like really accurate. I really love it, and I think it's one of the most useful. It's kind of useless when either, number one, you get in a bad spot, or put it in a bad spot. Number two, if you get shot off of it really quickly. And number three, if some stupid teammate decides to use their squad shield power-up and entrap you inside that bubble. Oh, I hate that. That is perfect trolling right there. But besides those moments, I really like the blaster cannon. It works really well. The infantry turret is weird, alright? So the infantry turret is like, it's like a sentry gun from Call of Duty, but here's the thing. It lets the other person know when they're being locked on. It says, target locked in the bottom corner, like, or bottom, like here-ish. It says target locked, and you're like, oh, what's targeting me? And then shot, dead on the floor. But like, here's the thing. It doesn't really, like, I've been killed by it a lot, don't get me wrong. But whenever I put it down, it never catches anything. It's one of those, like, it's like if you place down a random claymore on the map. You know, maybe you'll get a kill, but you could probably go throughout the whole game and never get one kill with it. That's the weird thing about it. It's just, it doesn't seem to work too often for me. I see myself getting killed by it a lot, but I don't see myself getting kills with it. So maybe it's just where they're placing it, but I never have any luck with the infantry turret. The orbital strike, however, my god, is that thing great. Just place that thing on objective, you'll get 2, 3, 4 kills every time. It's just, oh, I love that thing so much. It's kind of weird since you activate it by, I was playing it on PS4. So, with the back L2 and R2 buttons, then you aim it with L1, and then you shoot it with R1. So it kind of seemed a little weird that it's just like these binoculars that you gotta pull up and use kind of like an actual gun, but, you know, like compared to, you know, the sniper was like press, I think it was L1 that I had it for. You can choose which one that you want it for though. So I pressed L1 and then I would aim with the back 2, or aim with L2 and then shoot with R2. So it was kind of like one of those things where it's like, oh. But once you figure out, like, oh, that's how it fires, it works magically. And once you get it on a position where, you know, there's a lot of people coming from or anything like that, it's beautiful. Just watching that strike come down. It's just like the orbital strike for the AT-AT, but you know, let's say you're a rebel and you pick that up, you can use it. You don't need to be in the AT-AT to use it. And same with the Empire. It's one of those pickup power-ups where it's just like, oh, it's similar to the AT-ATs, but it's, you know, it's not really better, but it works really well. And I think that one is probably my second favorite. The proximity bomb, man, I hate that thing. The proximity bomb is kind of like your claymore. Sorry, my laptop cord is being stupid here. Like, the proximity bomb is stupid. Because it's like a claymore that will kill yourself. Just like, here's what happens to me every time. I like place it down somewhere or I slap it onto something and then it blows me up. Because I apparently got too close to it or whatever. And I feel like that should change. It shouldn't kill yourself. because it's like no stormtroopers are walking past me or anything like that. You know, rebel troopers are walking past me, and they're perfectly fine. It doesn't set it off. But once I walk past it, boom, and it's like, really? Maybe they should patch that so it doesn't kill you or your teammates or anything like that, but it kills the enemy. I can see how that kind of, it's camperish and things like that, but I feel like it would work better just to have that kind of as a claymore power up. Because like every time I use it, I just get killed by it and I get really frustrated with it. So I just like, all right, throw it down at my feet and blow myself up. That way I can spawn somewhere else. The smart rocket's actually pretty good at clearing out both objectives, and it's more useful against vehicles than actually clearing out objectives and stuff. I've used it in foot soldiers for overkill. It's nice. It's a nice feeling, but it works a lot better when you're going up against vehicles with it. And it's just a rocket launcher. That's really it. There's nothing really special to it. I don't think it locks on. I don't think it's a free fire or lock on. I think it's just free fire. So it would be kind of cool. Like, okay, I think the ion torpedo, if that ever gets put into the multiplayer, I think that will be like the javelin equivalent. But the smart rocket itself, that's kind of the, it's just a rocket launcher. Squad shield, I hate. I hate it. It's great when you're like, you know, trying to protect objectives, trying to protect yourself from turrets, because the turrets are kind of overpowered sometimes. You know, trying to protect yourself from the AT-ATs and stuff like that. But my God, is that a troller? That is a trolling power-up if I've ever seen one. Because like I said before with the blaster cannon, people will just place that down right on top of your turret, and it's like, I was trying to get kills. I'm a rebel in a turret trying to get kills, and you decide to put your squad shield right there. Really? You know, it's just, it's one of those annoyances, and I really wish that that something was different about it. Maybe not you shooting out of it, but maybe it's like, I don't know. Like, I feel like there should be a thing where it's like you can't place it around a turret. You know, where it's like, okay, the turret's, you know, inside of it, oh, you can't do it. I wish it would be like that, because that gets super annoying. Or if there's another power-up being used and they've dropped the shield right in front of you, and it's like, no! No, I just, it should not, you know, be like, oh, you can drop this anywhere. It should be more like, oh, there's a power-up here, or there's, you know, there's a placed power-up here, there's a, you know, there's a turret here, you know, can't place it here. I wish that was the case, because I feel like then it would be more useful, but as of now, it's just a troller power-up, and I hate it. I hate it with a passion, because it's just, it gets so annoying. And like, okay, now we're getting to the really cool one, which is the thermal imploder. And the thermal imploder pretty much is just a thermal detonator, but instead of exploding outwards, it explodes inwards. I've killed myself a lot with that. Because like it does have a low blast radius outside of the explosion, which makes sense, but it's like, okay. But it looks so cool when you're using it. Just to kind of see, you know, it just kind of go from, whoop, you know, I just, it's so cool looking. I really love the look of it. I haven't had luck using it, but I really love the look of it. It works just like a grenade, but it looks cooler. And then the vehicle turret, I think, is probably the most useless one, since it just, the only use for it is on Hoth, and if you get it, like, I haven't tried it against the AT-ATs, but against the AT-STs, it doesn't do much. Maybe it's not the most useless, but it doesn't work the way that I ever want it to. It just kind of sits there and just fires like those foam missiles at it. So, yeah. Next is kind of the vehicles, and I can sum this up pretty quickly since I've used a couple of them, not all of them though. I think the A-Wing is probably my favorite fighter when it comes to the kind of ships, because it has the torpedo. It has like, I think it had like a mini shield thing that you can put up just to take a couple extra hits, and it seemed, you know, pretty quick but pretty easy to fly too, and it did a nice amount of damage. I really like the A-Wing. The AT-AT I've used maybe once, and it's fun walking around in that thing, but you are so slow, and it's nice to use kind of like the orbital strike and like the really heavy explosive cannons, and you know, the kind of pew 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 launcher cannon thing. I really like those. Again, but like it kind of feels useless because like the orbital strike is a pickup, so it's like, oh well, at least this one you get it pretty fast, you know, just because it is kind of the recharge thing, kind of like the star cards. So yeah, AT-AT is pretty cool, but I don't go after it if I see it on the field. AT-ST I've used maybe once. I thought it was fine. There really wasn't much to say about it. It was fine. I don't remember it too much. It's just, it was fine. Kind of like a mini version, except I don't think you could call in orbital strikes with it. I think it had something else. Maybe, I don't remember. The airspeeder is pretty useful against the walkers, but when it comes to taking down those fighters, I've never had luck with it. TIE Fighter I didn't like because it's like a weak version of like a A-Wing, where like it has some ability. I don't know what it is, if it's like a torpedo or something. It has that, and then it has something else instead of that shield. And I feel like the shield has saved me a little bit. So again, I've flown around in like a TIE Fighter maybe twice and got shot down every time. So I don't know. TIE Interceptor I didn't ever find. And then the X-Wing I've used, and I thought the X-Wing was okay. It's a better version of the TIE Fighter, but again, still not as good. And then we can wrap this up pretty soon. So then we have the heroes. And I gotta say, I like Darth Vader better as a hero than Luke Skywalker, because Darth Vader has the choke, he has the lightsaber throw, and then I think he has one other ability where like all of Luke Skywalker's stuff is like crazy like slashes and things like that, and it's like Darth Vader has a little bit more range, and I like that about him compared to Luke. Now, I've played as Darth Vader, I want to say like twice. I only played as Luke once, so maybe it's just because I didn't really know how Luke worked. But I really like Darth Vader better because of the lightsaber throw especially. And it is always cool to kind of like force choke someone and then slice them, you know, in the midair and stuff. Playing as a hero is a lot of fun. But it's rare that you ever find one on a map. Yeah, so I think that's kind of like all my thoughts, really. But overall, I thought this was a great beta. I wish that they extended it even more, that way I can play it more. I cannot wait for this game to come out. I suggest you guys go buy it. I will definitely be playing it. I don't know about live streaming it since it was like 2 months since my last live stream before I live streamed again. So I don't know. It's just, I've kind of got out of the gaming scene now and kind of moved on to different stuff. I'm still kind of in the gaming scene with 50 slots, but besides that, I'm kind of out with the Let's Play stuff and the streaming. So let me know what you guys thought about the beta. I really want to hear from you guys. I want to hear what your favorite guns were, what were your favorite loadouts to use, especially the loadouts. I want to know what you guys use, since I normally used the thermal detonator and the sniper rifle. I want to see some other kind of classes, and I want to see, you know, just kind of whatever people were using and did really well with. But I think that's going to be it for today's episode. I know it's a pretty long one, but hey, it's Battlefront. It kind of deserves it. So my name, of course, has been 5150 Nighthawk02. I put these out every Friday. Make sure that you check out our new podcast, The Binge, where we talk about shows that we are watching on television at the moment. And kind of just go episode by episode through. So thank you guys so much for watching this. Make sure that you check out The Binge. Make sure you guys check out this game. and I will talk to you guys next week. Take care.